everyone, welcome back. Have you ever heard someone say that they are coming to your house in a poop hits the fan scenario? Or perhaps you are the person who plans on showing up to someone else's house unannounced during a poop hits the fan scenario. Neither is good. This video focuses on food considerations for mid to large size groups planning to survive together in a poop hits the fan scenario. That is it. This is a very focused video. It is one thing to cook for your family on a daily basis. It is quite a different story to cook for a group of people that is 3 to 5 times larger than your family. For instance, have you ever cooked for 30 or more people? Well, this is how it looks. I am preparing a very simple meal of spaghetti and meat sauce to feed up to 35 people. That is one meal for 35 people. I do not cook this much on a daily basis, but I am tasked with organizing and preparing meals for 10 to 30 people twice a month. That means I coordinate with others to help prepare dishes, or I myself prepare the meals if no one can assist. And that includes dessert. For those of you making plans to group up with family members or friends in a poop hits the fan scenario, these are some things to consider. 1. Do you have enough food? Setting aside food for you and your family is one thing, but is there enough for others? If yes, how many additional people can you support? The last thing you want is to start running out of food, right? Imagine asking someone to leave because there is no longer enough food to support them. That would not go over so well and could cause a very serious feud within the group. What type of food will be available? This matters big time. For example, you do not want to grow or have someone bring peanuts if someone in your group has a peanut allergy. Some people have difficulty digesting beans, legumes. What about those who follow biblically defined clean and unclean food dietary laws, meaning no pork, shellfish, rabbit, etc.? Also, if you are growing food to keep out pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, and other chemicals out of your food, you certainly do not want people contributing a bunch of prepackaged, chemically laced foods, right? So this is where communication is key when discussing what foods others should bring and contribute to the food supply. Who will cook? Do not assume everyone can cook, especially from scratch. To me, heating up a can or prepackaged of food is not cooking. If you are going to have 20 or more people at your home, farm, or homestead in a poop hits the fan scenario, you need some cooks. The basics of cooking is being able to make a meal out of whole foods. That means going to the garden, picking up a bunch of vegetables, and being able to cook them. Also, grabbing raw meat, handling it appropriately as not to contaminate other things, and being able to cook that meat, as well as being able to make a loaf of bread from scratch using flour, water, oil, and salt. This is the bare minimum of being capable of cooking. I personally do not expect gourmet meals that you will pay $50 per person at a high-end restaurant, but being able to create or to make simple, good meals is necessary. Do you have enough seasoning? A small can of cracked black pepper can last your family up to a month, but that certainly won't be enough when cooking for 10 or more people, 2 meals a day, 7 days a week. So make sure you have enough of the most basic seasoning and herbs such as salt, pepper, garlic, oregano, ginger, rosemary, basil, paprika, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, turmeric. This list will differ for each household, especially those with different ethnic backgrounds. No electricity? How will you cook? Have you only cooked on a stove? Have you cooked for your family and or a large group during a power outage when there was no electricity? This is something you should look into. I know for sure that I can cook a meal during a power outage, as I have done it several times. I even have a couple videos of me doing so. Once on my Mr. Buddy heater that I converted to use to cook on, as well as a video on me cooking on the wood burning stove during the winter. But I personally have not prepared a meal for a large group of people during a power outage. We have the resources and setup to do so, therefore I am confident that I can do so. But you should have an alternative ways to cooking food during power outages. How much to cook? This can be difficult to determine, as you have some who eat more than others, but generally I have been trying to stick to a decent serving size to feed the body, not the mind. In the past, when we prepare food for this large group gathering, we would make enough for everyone to get a second helping. But I have since moved away from that approach. I cook enough food for everyone to get a decent serving size plate for nourishment. If there happens to be food left over, it is divided amongst those who want seconds. Food is expensive, and if the chain supply is non-existent, first is all that will matter. Not to mention, I don't want leftovers in the event there is no reliable place to store it. For example, no electricity or unreliable electricity. Before refrigeration, people gathered and prepared what they needed. I want to be proficient at this. Now, there were also clever ways to preserve food, which brings me to the next point. Can you preserve food for large groups of people? There are many ways to preserve food, with and without electricity. Canning, dehydrating, and freeze drying require electricity or fuel such as propane or gas. You can also preserve food by smoke drying, salt curing, fermenting, burying, or submerging in a shallow pond. I am only familiar with smoking, curing, and fermenting, all of which can be done without electricity or other fuels. So knowing and practicing alternative ways of preserving food is important. Stacy from Doug and Stacy published a fermenting book. It may not be in everyone's price range, but if you do a search for fermenting on their channel, there are numerous fermenting videos. Make your own fermenting recipe book from that channel. Just consider giving a thumbs up on the videos you obtain recipes to show appreciation for their work. So these are just some considerations for when forming a group to survive a catastrophic event, whether it be with friends or family members. It also explains why people showing up unannounced in a poop hits the fan scenario is not a good idea. Are you still not convinced? Consider this pot of spaghetti meat sauce to feed 35 people. Remember, this is just one meal. This is also enough food to feed my family of 5 a full week's worth of spaghetti and meat sauce for dinner. If another family of 5 showed up unannounced to my home to survive a catastrophic event, they would essentially reduce our food supply by 50%. So instead of having a week's worth of spaghetti and meat sauce, we would only have about 3 days and a half. And consider a month's worth of food will be reduced to 2 weeks, and a year's supply of food would be reduced to 6 months. And since some people only understand money, let's put it this way. You work all year and finally get a $70,000 lump sum check for the work that you did. This is enough to provide you and your family, to support you and your family for a whole year. But let's say another small family comes to you for help because they didn't prepare. Now, instead of having $70,000 to support you and your family for the year, you only have $35,000 to support your family and $35,000 to support the other family for half a year. All that hard work reduced by half because someone else didn't put in the work to prepare. I hope this video proves helpful when considering food preps for your prepper group. If so, please like, share, and subscribe to help this small channel to grow.